Monday, the 5th of January is a decision day, not a day where everything suddenly becomes easy, but a day where clarity becomes unavoidable. God says, I am removing confusion. I am sharpening your spiritual vision. I am helping you see what no longer fits and what must be released. There are relationships that cannot go with you. There are habits that cannot follow you. There are mindsets that must stay behind. Not because you are better than them, but because your assignment requires freedom. Monday the 5th of January will change everything, not because the date itself is magical, but because obedience on an appointed day releases what delay has been holding back. God works with timing, and timing is not random. Timing is intentional. Timing is precise. Timing is personal. God says there are seasons when I prepare you and seasons when I promote you, and the two do not look the same. Preparation feels slow. Promotion feels sudden. But both are equally holy. Some days look ordinary on the surface, yet they carry a depth that cannot be measured by calendars or clocks. They arrive quietly, without noise, without urgency, and without obvious signs. But in the spiritual realm, they are marked, they are observed, they are intentional. Monday, the 5th of January is one of those days, not because the date itself holds power, but because God has chosen moments in time where alignment becomes possible for those who are attentive. When God says, do not ignore this, He is not creating fear or pressure. He is offering awareness. He is gently inviting why. Or to recognize that not every day is meant to be treated the same. God has always worked through appointed moments. There were days when nothing seemed to change on the outside, yet everything shifted in the unseen. The people who experienced breakthrough were not always the strongest or the loudest, but they were present. They were paying attention. They understood that timing matters, and that obedience in a specific moment can open doors that effort alone cannot. A divinely appointed day does not force itself on you. It waits to be acknowledged. It respects your free will. It responds to your posture. This is why God speaks with calm urgency rather than alarm. He is not saying that everything will collapse if you miss this day. He is saying that awareness allows alignment, and align may. NT allows movement. When you treat a meaningful moment as ordinary, you may still move forward, but you will move without clarity. When you recognize that a day carries purpose, you enter it with focus, humility, and expectation. That inner posture changes how you listen, how you respond, and how you act. Monday, the 5th of January, represents a point of alignment where past preparation meets praise, obedience. It is a day that invites you to pause, not in fear, but in attentiveness. God is not asking you to perform, rush, or prove anything. He is simply asking you to be available. Availability is powerful because it creates space for God to lead instead of you forcing outcomes. Many people miss divine moments not because they are unfaithful, but because they are distracted. Their minds are busy with yesterday or anxious about tomorrow, and they overlook what God is doing now. A divinely appointed day does not always bring immediate results. Sometimes it brings clarity, sometimes it brings peace. Sometimes it brings a quiet conviction to let go of what no longer fits. These internal shifts are just as significant as visible changes, because they set the direction for what follows. When God marks a day, He is often marking the beginning of a process, not the completion of it. Seeds are planted before fruit is seen. There is no pressure in this moment, only invitation. God is not demanding perfection, He is inviting attention. He is not asking you to predict outcomes, He is asking you to trust His presence. When you acknowledge a day as meaningful, you become more sensitive to His voice, more aware of His guidance, and more open to subtle direction. Conversations may feel different. Decisions may feel clearer. You may sense a gentle reassurance rather than dramatic signs. This is why ignoring a divinely appointed day does not stop God's plan, but it can delay your awareness of it. God is patient, but alignment accelerates growth. When you step into Monday with calm expectancy, you are not forcing change, you are allowing it. You are saying, God, I am present, I am listening, I am willing. That simple posture creates room for God to work in ways that feel natural, yet deeply intentional. In the end, this day is not about fear of missing out. It is about the peace of being aligned. It is about understanding that God does not rush you, but He does invite you. Monday, the 5th of January, is a reminder that when heaven highlights a moment, it is an act of love. It is God saying, "Peate," not because something is wrong, but because something meaningful is beginning. Obedience is often misunderstood because many people associate it with pressure, urgency, or force. But true obedience in faith is calm. It is steady. It is rooted in trust rather than emotion. God does not wait for you to feel confident, inspired, or fully certain before He calls you to move. He waits for willingness. Feelings rise and fall, but willingness stays grounded. This is why change so often begins quietly, not when everything makes sense, but when you decide to trust God even without complete clarity. There are moments when God gives direction that does not come with full explanation, not because He wants to confuse you, but because faith grows through movement, not through control. If Jesus explained every detail in advance, obedience would turn into calculation. But when you move with limited information, you are choosing trust over certainty. That choice is where transformation begins. Monday, the 5th of January, represents this kind of moment where obedience matters more than how you feel about it. Many people wait for confidence before they act. They wait for peace to feel for fear to disappear, for circumstances to look safe. But God often speaks while emotions are still unsettled. He invites action while doubts are still present. Obedience does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing faith in the presence of it. Calm obedience is not rushed or dramatic. It is a quiet decision to move forward even when emotions have not caught up. God understands you. Our hesitation. He knows the weight of past disappointments. He knows how unanswered prayers can make you cautious. That is why He does not demand bold leaps. He asks for faithful steps. A single step taken in obedience carries more power than 100 plans made in hesitation. When you act in obedience, even in small ways, you are aligning your life with God's direction rather than your emotions. This is why obedience activates change. Feelings respond to outcomes, but obedience shapes direction. When you choose to act on God's instructions, something begins to shift internally. You become less reactive and more intentional. You stop being driven by fear and start being guided by trust. Over time, emotions settle because they sense stability. Peace grows not because everything is resolved, but because you know you are walking in alignment. Monday is not about forcing yourself into action. It is about choosing not to delay what God has already confirmed in your heart. Obedience does not always look like a big decision. Sometimes it looks like showing up, letting go, speaking honestly, resting when you usually push, or trusting when you usually overthink. These quiet acts of obedience often carry the greatest impact because they reshape your inner life. God does not measure obedience by results. He measures it by posture. He looks at the heart that says, "I am willing even if I am unsure." That posture invites His guidance. When you take a step in obedience, God meets you there. He adjusts your direction as you move. He provides clarity along the way, stillness without obed. Ions can turn into stagnation, but movement guided by trust leads to growth. This is why you do not need to feel ready to obey. Readiness often comes after the first step, not before it. God is patient with your process, but He honors your willingness. Monday, the 5th of January, is an invitation to trust direction over emotion, obedience over comfort, and faith over feeling. There is no pressure. In this choice, only peace. When you obey calmly, without striving, you place yourself in a position where change can unfold naturally, guided by God rather than driven by fear. Delay is often one of the hardest things to endure, especially when your heart is ready and your prayers feel urgent. You wonder why God has not moved yet, why doors remain closed, or why answers seem slow in coming. Yet delay is rarely denial, and it is never without purpose. God is always working, even in seasons when it seems like nothing is happening. Every pause, every period of waiting is shaping you, preparing you, and readying you for the breakthrough that is coming. Monday, the 5th of January, carries the weight of such preparation, a reminder that what has been delayed is not forgotten, but refined. The things that did not happen sooner were not because God was absent, but because He was cultivating strength, character, and readiness within you. Delay is a teacher, though its lessons often come quietly and without applause. You may have faced setbacks, disappointments, or long periods of waiting that tested your patience. Every moment was part of a divine process, teaching resilience, perseverance, and trust. Monday is significant because it marks the point where preparation intersects with opportunity. It is the day when the skills, lessons, and endurance developed in the quiet moments begin to meet movement. Many people view waiting as a sign of weakness or failure, but God sees it differently. He sees faithfulness during delay, the quiet prayers, the perseverance, the determinatio. Fun to keep believing even when results are unseen. That endurance strengthens the heart, disciplines the mind, and matures the spirit. By the time the breakthrough comes, you are not only ready to receive it, but ready to steward it. Delay was never a punishment. It was a preparation for promotion, a refining of purpose, so that when doors open, you enter with clarity, wisdom, and faith. It is not too rare to feel frustration or impatience during seasons of delay, but God invites calm reflection rather than anxiety. He invites understanding that timing is not random, and that what feels slow is part of a rhythm beyond human perception. He is orchestrating circumstances, conversations, and connections in ways that cannot be rushed or replicated. Monday, the 5th of January, is a reminder that these preparations were meaningful and that the timing of God's plan is precise. When you trust Him, you stop comparing your timing with others or measuring progress only by visible results. During delay, God also works inwardly. He adjusts your perspective, reshapes priorities, and aligns your heart with His purpose. You learn to release what cannot follow you into the next season and embrace what is necessary for the journey ahead. He strengthens your faith, not just for the immediate breakthrough, but for the long path of continued obedience and trust. By the time Monday arrives, you are entering not only a season of change, but a season of readiness to receive what aligns with your true calling. This is why delay should not be discouraging but affirming. It confirms that God is meticulous, intentional, and strategic in how He moves on your behalf. Monday, the 5th of January, is a culmination of all that has been quietly building within you. It is a reminder that you are prepared for the moment, equipped for the opportunity, and aligned for the outcome. The lessons of patience, faith, and perseverance are what make the breakthrough sustainable, meaningful, and transformative in the end. Delay is never wasted. Every prayer, every act of faith, every quiet moment of trust contributes to the fullness of what God is preparing. Monday is a day to recognize that preparation has been complete, that waiting has been intentional, and that the next steps are ready for you to take. When you step into this day with calm trust, gratitude for the journey, and confidence in God's timing, you position yourself to receive the change that has been patiently waiting for you. Resistance often comes quietly, sometimes as subtle doubts or distractions, sometimes as heavy burdens that weigh on the heart. You may feel that everything around you is conspiring to slow you down, that every effort is met with a new obstacle, or that the world itself seems determined to test your resolve. But resistance is not always a sign of failure or misalignment. In fact, God often allows resistance to appear when something significant is about to unfold. Monday, the 5th of January, is one of those moments. The opposition you feel is a sign that alignment is near, that movement is imminent, and that breakthrough is approaching. The enemy seeks to discourage, distract, and deceive, especially when Heaven has set a new season in motion. You may feel tired, unsure, or overwhelmed, but these feelings are not a reflection of God's absence. They are a signal that you are stepping into territory that matters, that what is coming has value, and that the change God intends cannot be achieved without your attention. Resistance tests focus, strengthens resolve, and separates preparation from promotion. Monday carries a spiritual weight, and opposition is often strongest just before the shift occurs, not as a sign that it will not happen, but as proof that it will. Calm awareness is the key to moving through resistance. When you respond with fear, panic, or avoidance, you give the pressure power. When you respond with faith, patience, and trust, resistance becomes a measure of your readiness. God does not promise a life without challenges, but He promises presence, guidance, and eventual victory. Monday is significant because it is a day to recognize that the obstacles you perceive are temporary, while the purpose God is revealing is eternal. The trials do not define the outcome, your posture toward them does. Resistance also teaches discernment. It helps you recognize what is essential and what is distracting. Not every difficulty is meant to stop you. Some are meant to prepare you, refine your character, and strengthen your faith. When you meet resistance calmly, you learn to move with wisdom rather than impulsivity. You learn to differentiate between obstacles that require effort and those that require trust. Monday is a day to practice this discernment, to step forward with clarity while maintaining peace, knowing that God is guiding your path even when circumstances seem contrary. It is natural to question why challenges appear at pivotal moments. You may ask, why now, or why this way? But resistance is not random. It is often proof that you are close to something meaningful. The pressure you feel is a signal that God is orchestrating alignment, that the moment you are approaching carries significance, and that you are being prepared to handle it with grace. Monday, the 5th of January, is an invitation to step into this understanding, to meet the day with calm focus, and to trust that what seems difficult now is part of a larger plan. God's presence is stronger than any resistance you encounter. Calm faith transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. Monday is not about forcing circumstances to yield. It is about aligning with God's guidance so that movement unfolds naturally. When you recognize resistance as proof that you are near the appointed moment, it loses its ability to discourage. Instead, it becomes a signpost, a quiet indicator that change is about to manifest. This day, Monday the 5th of January, is meant to be met with steer by faith. Resistance will appear, but it is temporary. The shift that God has scheduled will not be halted by uncertainty, doubt, or external pressures. When you maintain calm, obedience, and trust in the presence of resistance, you step into a rhythm that allows change to flow naturally. Resistance is not the end, it is the threshold. It is not a blockade, it is a marker that you are on the right path. By meeting it with serenity and faith, you position yourself to move into the transformation that God has carefully prepared. Letting go is one of the most gentle yet powerful acts of faith. It is not about giving up or losing hope. It is about creating space for what God wants to bring into your life. Often, we cling to what is familiar, comfortable, or even familiar in pain, thinking that holding on gives us security. But God asks for a calm surrender, a quiet willingness to release what no longer serves your purpose. Monday, the 5th of January, is a day to recognize that true progress often requires letting go. Not everything can follow you into the next season, and God knows what is necessary for your path. The things we hold on to, old habits, outdated mindsets, relationships that drain rather than build, can subtly limit our growth. God does not ask you to abandon what is good, but He calls for discernment in what is essential. By letting go, you are not losing, you are creating alignment with the divine plan. The weight you release is replaced by clarity, focus, and readiness to receive new opportunities. Monday represents this kind of transition, a gentle invitation to release the past and step into a day where freedom and purpose meet. Letting go requires calm trust. It is not a hurried act or a response to panic. It is a quiet decision, rooted in faith, to allow God's wisdom to guide your choices. When you cling tightly to what is familiar, you may feel safe, but you also limit the potential God has prepared for you. Releasing does not mean the past had no value. It means that the past was a preparation for what is next. The experiences, lessons, and challenges you have faced were all shaping you for the breakthrough that this Monday carries. Sometimes letting go is more about inner surrender than external action. It is about releasing fear, doubt, guilt, or worry. It is about acknowledging that God is in control, even when outcomes are uncertain. When you calm your heart and mind and choose to trust, you align yourself with divine timing. Monday, the 5th of January, is an opportunity to practice this trust, to step into the day with the confidence that God is leading you, even if the path is not fully visible. Holding on often comes from a desire to control, to ensure that things happen according to our understanding. But control is an illusion, and trying to maintain it can create resistance and stagnation. Letting go, on the other hand, allows movement. It opens the door for God to act in ways that surpass our expectations. Monday is a day to recognize that surrender is not weakness, it is strength. It is an act of courage to release the familiar and embrace what God is placing before you. The process of letting go also brings peace. When you release what cannot accompany you into the new season, you lighten the burden on your spirit. You create space for hope, clarity, and joy. Monday, the 5th of January, is not just a day on the calendar, it is a day of opportunity, a chance to step forward unencumbered by what was meant to stay behind. By letting go calmly and intentionally, you prepare yourself to walk into change with grace, wisdom, and readiness. God does not demand perfection in this process. He asks for willingness, attentiveness, and trust. The act of releasing is less about what you lose and more about what you gain. Freedom, clarity, focus, and divine alignment are the rewards for letting go. Monday is the day when what you release becomes the pathway for what you are meant to receive. Calm surrender opens the way for growth, opportunity, and transformation, reminding you that what God has prepared far exceeds what you might cling to out of habit or fear. By choosing to let go, you are choosing to move forward, fully aligned with the purpose and promise that this day carries. True change begins on the inside before it manifests on the outside. Many people wait for circumstances to shift, for doors to open, or for problems to disappear before they allow themselves to believe that transformation is possible. But God works differently. He begins with your heart, your mind, and your spirit, because when these are aligned, external change flows naturally. Monday, the 5th of January, is not just a date on the calendar, it is a day marked for inner alignment. God invites you to step into it with calm expectation, knowing that when you change your posture, perspective, and focus, everything else begins to follow. Your internal state shapes how you perceive opportunities, respond to challenges, and make decisions. When fear, doubt, or distraction dominate your thoughts, progress is slowed even when external doors appear open. But when calm confidence, faith, and focus guide your heart, you move with clarity, wisdom, and peace. Monday represents a day when our posture matters more than circumstance, when the way you choose to enter the day determines how the day unfolds. God often brings change not by altering the environment first, but by preparing your spirit to navigate the environment with grace and discernment. Change also requires awareness. Many people overlook the subtle shifts within themselves because they are focused solely on outcomes. But internal alignment sets the foundation for sustainable transformation. Monday, the 5th of January, is a day to notice your readiness, your mindset, and your willingness to trust. When you enter it calmly, not anxious or hurried, you allow God to work through your thoughts, words, and actions. The inner shift you cultivate today will ripple outward, influencing relationships, opportunities, and decisions in ways that align with God's plan. Faith and calm focus are key components of this transformation. When you approach Monday with alertness yet serenity, you notice moments of guidance that would otherwise pass unnoticed. You respond to opportunities instead of reacting impulsively. You listen to God's voice in quiet spaces, rather than chasing noise and distraction. Change begins with this kind of intentional presence, where your heart is attentive and your mind is aligned with God's purpose. External breakthroughs are powerful, but they are far more meaningful when the person receiving them is prepared internally. This day also calls for letting go of resistance, hesitation, and lingering doubt. Internal change often involves releasing control, surrendering expectations, and trusting in God's timing. Monday is a moment to practice this surrender. When you shift your posture from tension to calm trust, you position yourself to receive guidance, clarity, and movement in alignment with God's will. What seems small, an adjustment in attitude, a moment of patience, a decision to trust instead of worry, can become the catalyst for profound transformation in your circumstances. Change is not always dramatic. It can begin quietly with a subtle shift in how you think, speak, and respond. Monday, the 5th of January, is a reminder that even minor internal adjustments can lead to significant external results over time. By focusing on aligning your heart, embracing calm faith, and adopting a posture of readiness, you allow God to multiply your efforts and orchestrate outcomes that surpass your understanding. The transformer, tone that starts inside, creates momentum that cannot be stopped externally. God calls you to enter this day with awareness, peace, and expectation. True change begins with you, and Monday is the perfect moment to step into that reality. When your internal posture is aligned, your perspective is clear, and your focus is steady, external circumstances begin to reflect the transformation God is already working within. Monday, the 5th of January, is a day to trust this process, to embrace calm readiness, and to recognize that as your heart and mind change, everything around you has the potential to change as well. By aligning internally, you open the door for the fullness of God's promise to unfold in your life.